bad YouTuber, I choose you!
Konnichiwa, ninjas! It's me, Ninjalens!
Ninjalens!
And, if you did not hear, the Nintendo Direct on the 26th announced that there will be a new Pokemon. How many of you guys like Pokemon? I have no idea, actually, because it's different for all people. Some people didn't grow up with Pokemon at all. I don't know how you managed to do that. I remember the day that I got my very first Pokemon game vividly. I was 8 years old, and it was Christmas Day. I had been asking my parents to get me a video game console for a very long time. As long as I can remember, honestly. I don't know when I first started wanting to playing video games, eh? I'm wanting to play video games, eh?
What are you doing over here?
I'm wanting to play video games, yeah? Yeah. I can't remember when I first started wanting to play video games. But it seems like it's been a staple in my life as long as I can remember. It was Christmas Day when I was 8 years old. And on that Christmas Day, I opened up a package that had a Game Boy Advance and Pokemon Crystal inside of it. I remember the second that I opened it, I grabbed it, I looked up, and I had my eyes wide open, and I started running around the house like, oh my god! Oh yes! Yes! Thank the Lord of Pokemon! He has bestowed upon us Pokemon! Needless to say, I was very happy. Pokemon Crystal was the very first video game I ever owned. So my second game I got was a Yu-Gi-Oh game where Karibo could beat the Blue Eyes White Dragon because of their elemental types. I really liked the game when I first had it. It was fun, but looking back on it, it had some serious flaws. Yeah, as most of you guys know, I'm guessing, they announced Pokemon Moon and Sun. Or, as some people like to call it, Pokemon S&M. Jokes. Funny. Along with it was a celebration of 20 years of Pokemon, as Saturday was the 20-year anniversary of the very first ever Pokemon. They had this really beautiful montage of people playing all different kinds of the games, of all different ages, you know, doing it in a group. And it was a very beautiful display, showing all the wonderful improvements and cool things they've added to all the new Pokemon games. There are a lot of people out there who do not like the new Pokemon games. And the biggest group of people that I know of are called Gen 1ers, and they don't spell it right, apparently. They're people who think that the very first edition of Pokemon was the best one. For the longest time, I kind of agreed with them. Although, I never played Gen 1. Now that they're adding it to the eShop, I probably will play it. My favorite version of Pokemon was the second generation of Pokemon, because it was my first, and I have nostalgia for it, but it's more than that. I think a lot of Gen 1ers are suffering from simple nostalgia. The first generation reminds them of the time where they didn't have to worry about bills, or homework, or essays, or their impending death. A lot of people say that they hate all these new Pokemon are super unoriginal. Hey, don't... Seal. Seal! See, I had a very specific reason for having difficulty playing all the new Pokemon games. There definitely is a nostalgia factor. I definitely see these older games and I'm like, childhood. A day where everything was perfect, only it wasn't. Besides looking back on my youth with nostalgia, there's also a better reason. I had a Game Boy Advance, and that was it, for a very long time. Up until I paid for stuff myself. I had a Game Boy Advance, later on a GameCube, up until I paid for stuff myself. And I'm not complaining, they were great consoles and they were great experiences. I was significantly behind. I got Crystal version with my Game Boy because the game was significantly older. I was a generation behind. I did get a Game Boy Advance, and that was great. But it was a Game Boy Color game, and I think either that year or the year afterwards, Ruby and Sapphire came out. So, there was no one playing that generation of Pokemon when I had it, and when I had only that game. The only Pokemon game I had for a very long time, I had no one to play with it. Looking back on that, it was kind of frustrating. No one had Generation 2 Pokemon. They all had Ruby and Sapphire. And I was kind of left to playing Pokemon by myself. No one to trade with, no one to battle with, nothing. It was a solo experience, and I still thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel like I missed out on a big experience, and I have been bitter in the past. Wow. Everybody else had these great experiences with Pokemon, but I just really didn't. I really shouldn't complain because I had some great experience with Yu-Gi-Oh cards and Pokemon cards. I had a really nice childhood. I had a little bit of trouble playing Pokemon, even if I was able to accept that it was my frustration of not having people to play Pokemon with in the time you're really supposed to be playing Pokemon with other people. Nowadays, I could get a Pokemon game and go over to the playground and be like, "Hey, kids, want to play some Pokemon? Hey, kids." Arrest him! No, wait, I'm just playing a Pokemon. Ah! Stop, you creep. How dare that grown man play a kid's game? And to be totally honest, I don't really want to. Nowadays, I really appreciate gaming as my alone time. It's a very frustrating fact that you spent the time you were supposed to be spending playing with your fellow comrades, playing Pokemon, playing alone. Now, a physical thing in the way of that is that the Pokemon games are new and they're not familiar to you. They're not the same as when you were a kid. It's like a representation of the wall in the way of you enjoying Pokemon again. You can still enjoy Pokemon by yourself, and you can still enjoy Pokemon with your friends, but you will never be able to be a kid again and experience Pokemania. Even if Pokemon didn't update the roster adding new Pokemon every generation, you cannot go back. You cannot play Pokemon on the playground as a kid and experience Pokemania. It is impossible. You are an adult. There are a lot of stories about middle school, but I'll simplify it down to this. In middle school, almost immediately, I discovered an awkwardness and lost my charm and ability to make friends. I don't know what happened. I felt alone a lot in middle school, and I just kind of look back on something that I loved. I loved playing this Pokemon game, and what got me through being very frustrated in a new middle school with no friends, I played Pokemon Crystal again. My Pokemon were my friends. I don't know if that was exactly the healthiest thing in the world, but I look back on it fondly. I look back on the time I spent playing Pokemon when I was in middle school all by myself and feeling, these things are my friends. Maybe I'm still just crazy. It doesn't feel like I did something wrong there. I'll never forget this summer. I went on a road trip. And on this road trip, I played Pokemon as I was in the phase of looking on these Pokemon as my only friends. It's still a little hard to talk about this. It's freaky to me. Towards the end of the road trip, I remember this vividly. I was looking around trying to find a Mr. Mime to try and advance my Pokedex. I still hadn't collected everything, and that was frustrating. I looked back on the short period of time I had spent between save points and realized I probably didn't need to save and close the game down. I just turned it off. I look back and I think, wow, that was the last time I turned on that game. I was told that I should leave it out in the car because I wouldn't be needing it in the hotel we'd be staying in. I got in the car the next day, I turned on the game, and I was about to find me a Mr. Mime. Probably one of the most traumatic experiences of my childhood was displayed in a short box of text. Your save file has been corrupted. Years of playing that game. Over. I cried harder than I'd like to admit. I did not cry much when I was that age. Didn't cry when I skinned my knees. Everything that I had done in that game, the time I beat the Elite Four with just one for Alligator, gone. I cried. And more so, these were the only friends I had. I spent that summer looking back on all kinds of other Pokemon games that I'd ever played. That was the last day I ever played Pokemon. I was incapable of opening up Ruby or Sapphire after that, as I thought it would be disrespectful to the memory of my friends. As I grew older, I just kind of kept to that. Up until last year. Well, I'm trying to think how many years that was between the times playing Pokemon. It was 6 years. I had a very specific experience with Pokemon. I had been hanging out with competitive Smash people. A couple of them were really into competitive Pokemon. I was in the phase of, back in my day, we only had 250 Pokemon. We only had, I think it was 251 Pokemon. I can't remember. But I know we didn't have this many. Too many. One of my friends found, I don't know what he was doing in a Walmart parking lot, digging around in the snow. He found Pokemon Y in the snow in a Walmart parking lot, and surprisingly it worked. And he gave it to me, and I was like, must be a sign. I must play Pokemon. And it was at that exact time I was sick as a dog. I was so sick. I, to quote one of my friends, said, "You sound like Darth Vader if he smoked 1,000,000 cigarettes." And I didn't know how to handle playing Pokemon again. It was a weird experience. I mean, it was the first time I played Pokemon since I was 10 or 11 years old. Pokemon had been such a big part of my life that I had to do something special. I really wanted to do some sort of stream or Let's Play or something like that, but I didn't have a proper capture card, and I wasn't about to risk my 3DS and drop $300 on that. Also, I don't think they do the mod for 3DS XL. I decided I would record it because it felt like I had to. And I recorded what I like to call the worst Let's Play ever. I recorded it by putting my camera over my shoulder and recording the 3DS screen while desperately trying to keep the 3DS in the frame. While I sounded like this.
You can ride a ride-on?
There's nothing special that happened because I recorded it. I did what I had to do to get over this emotional blockage. And I feel better because of it. I recently got Pokemon Alpha Sapphire, and I'll be playing that. And I intend to get the new Pokemon games when they come out, and I'm excited to play them. That experience of me playing Pokemon Y, doing the worst Pokemon Y playthrough ever, got me over this. I don't want to call it a nostalgia blind, because it's more than that. It's a feeling of something, looking back on something, and feeling as if it's sacred. And that doing something else, involving it, would be tarnishing its memory. Nothing is going to tarnish the memory of the times I spent playing Pokemon Crystal. And that was holding me back. But I think there are more people being held back by very simple things, like not liking that there's new Pokemon. The new Pokemon are just as creative, if not more so, than the original 151. Seal was in the original 151. He's a seal. He's a seal! I still look back on my Pokemon Crystal with reverence. There's a little part of me inside that still misses my Feraligatr named DJ. I'm excited for the new Pokemon. I hope you are too. We must return to the shadows of the internet. But on the flash of the camera, I will return to the light. Ninja out!
Subscribe to the Ninjalens channel, and your life will get 4 times better.